Drea.
Drea O.
Drea O.
Drea O.
Drea O. Drea O.
I'm from Chicago, and
A sound ahead of its time. Derek McAllister Jr., also known as Speaker Knockerz, died exactly 9 years ago today, leaving behind thousands of fans, loving family members, and a blueprint that artists would follow for years to come. From Gucci to Lil Uzi to A Boogie, so many hip hop artists have acknowledged his contributions to the game. At just 19 years old, the South Carolina rapper and producer created a sound, flow, and wave that can still be heard today. But many fans are left with a lot of questions. Who was Speaker Knockerz as a person? How was he able to get his career off the ground at just 19? And in the end, what happened? Well, tonight, I sit down with Speaker Knocker's mom to remember his life and get the answers that you need.
I'm going to read you some lyrics and talk to me about what you thought and what you felt when you heard these lyrics. Got kicked out the house, I had no options. I was going through it with my mama.
Hi, my name is Misha Wilson, also known as Mama Knockerz, Speaker Knockerz mom. And I'm calling in from Columbia, South Carolina.
So when did you realize that your son, Derek, wanted to start making music and producing music? When did you realize that that was going on?
Well, he always loved music, and he would buy, at the time they had Walkmans. So he would have Walkman with his cassette tape, and he would download music and, run up, because I gave him a cell phone. Him and his brother shared a cell phone. And he would always download music and run up the bill, and I said, why are you listening to so much music? He said, Mama gives me peace. So as he got a little bit older in his teen years, I would hear him making a lot of noise in his room. So I would always go around the corner and ask him, son, what are you doing? He said, no, nothing. I'm just playing around with music. And then he really got serious about it. Once he went to find a job, he went to Zaxby's, and he went to fill out an application, and then the lady told him she would call him back, and she never called him back. And after that, he just, took it from there. He really went really hard with this music, and I didn't know the connections that he had until like almost before he passed away, but I didn't know because he made it like it wasn't a big deal.
So what were you playing in the house as he was growing up? What sounds do you think inspired your son while he was coming up?
I know that he used to talk about Soulja Boy a lot.
I listened to Biggie, lots of rap music and R&B, and some church music too.
So he was hearing all of that in the house. And then his dad was also a producer, correct?
Yes. So his father, like when he would have days off from school when his father was home, he would stay with him while I went to work. And he would listen to him, watch him, because he had a whole studio. So he would watch him play, the instruments. And then I guess he took it from there. He just wanted to be just like his father. So anything he did, he just mimicked him.
All during this time where he's kind of crafting his skill as a producer and a rapper, you're working and you're providing for your family. When did you realize that it was something that maybe he was starting to take serious and like you started to see it take off? When did you realize that, okay, wait, maybe he really got something with this?
I mean, to be honest, like I thought he had it, but I really wasn't sure because like I said, I didn't know the connections that he had. I just knew he was making music, but he really was kind of quiet about it. So he really didn't express, what he was doing. And I mean, like sometimes you have a family member that might be really doing well, but they're just your family member, not someone who the outside world sees them as. So I guess I kind of took it for granted. And I really realized it when I was selling cakes out of my car, and I did that to supplement my income so that I didn't have to ask people for anything. And he would do the deliveries for me, being Speaker Knockerz. And so one day he delivered to one of my celebrity clients some cupcakes. And so before he left, he said, Mom, do you know who I am? So then I looked at him, I said, yeah, I know who you are. You are my son, and you're gonna make that delivery for me. And so then that's when I realized also that he was bigger than I thought.
And then at the time as his mom, you're like, okay, like what is running through your head? Like,
It just was strange. But and another thing that when I realized that he was bigger than I thought was when he went away to do something in Chicago, and I was working on that Saturday. And when I came home, my burglar alarm was going off, and someone took a big rock and threw it in our window and broke our window, and they bragged about it on social media that they just, did you hear what happened to Speaker Knockerz mom's house or whatever? But no one would know that fast if they didn't do it. So, that's when I knew too, and I knew that it was time to move.
A lot of people were reaching out to your son at the time. I know he started producing for Meek Mill, and I know Gucci Mane had reached out. So all of this was happening while he was living under your roof. But there was a certain time where you guys fell out, because he even raps about it. There's lyrics where he says, I'll read you those lyrics in a little bit, but it was a time where you guys fell out and you kicked him out of the house. So talk to me about the transition from him making beats in your house to when you decided that it was time for him to leave.
It was time for him to leave when he was very disrespectful to me. And I don't even remember some of the things that he said, but I know that it was too much. And so it started out because he came in the room and I told him, son, you're going to have to start paying your cell phone bill, because he was making way more money than I was. And all I said was $100 a month. I didn't ask for anything else. I just said that, he went off and he said, oh, you're money hungry, for $100, you don't need my $100. And he just didn't understand that that's your bill and you're supposed to be grown so you can pay that. But he just got real upset about me asking for $100 just for him to pay his portion of the cell phone bill. And it just got out of hand. He just said some more other, ugly things. And I just couldn't take that. So I just asked him to leave.
And he packed up everything and he moved out. Where did he go?
I don't know. I don't know if he packed, because I left. I had to go make a delivery. And I just told him, when I come back, you need to be gone. And so, he made enough money at his own place.
So what was going on before he got kicked out? What was life like? He was just producing in his room, and you were at work, what was that like?
Yes, he did. He would do that when he came home from school, and he would do it on the weekends, and for summers at a time, he would just stay in his room and just do that.
Because he was in school at the time. What was his school life like?
Class clown. He was just bored. He always was in trouble in school because he just got bored. He would finish his work and then he'd just be the class clown. And then he went to school all the way up until the 12th grade, and he got his cap and gown and everything. And the guidance counselor called us in and told us that we wouldn't be getting our tickets for the graduation because he still owes 6 more months. So he said, Mom, 6 more months. They told me that before. I did the 6 months, and now they're telling me 6 more months. He said, I can't do it, Mom. I'm sorry. I have to do it later, but right now I have too many things coming at me, too much business and too much money to make to be staying here for 6 months. This is a distraction. I'll come back later, but right now I can't do it.
So right before he got his diploma, he dropped out.
Yes.
And at the time, he did have a lot of things happening. Talk to me a little bit about some of the celebrities that were reaching out. What was happening when you were hearing the stories like Meek was reaching out and Gucci Mane was reaching out?
Like sometimes he would say he was going to Atlanta and he was going to be in something with Gucci Mane, but Gucci Mane would call him all the time, and I said, he calls you? He said, yeah. He looked at me like, what's the big deal? But that's not something that's normal that he would call you. But he just was very humble about it. He didn't make a big deal. He didn't say, Mom, guess who's calling me? And then when they would come in town, he would meet up with them and they would go to the studio, or he would just hang out with them. He would get into clubs that he was only 17, and they would let him inside clubs, and he would be in the DJ booth and everything.
How did they find him? How was Gucci able to find your son, and how was Meek able to find him? What sites was he on at the time? Because it was MySpace, Twitter. How were they able to find him?
I don't know, but I know he was on Twitter, but I'm not too sure because I really don't know. It just happened so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to meet Kevin Gates as well. He came to Augusta, and I was able to get front row seats, and I was able to go backstage and meet him, and it was really nice guy. I
Oh,
really
nice. Was that around the time that he dropped Lonely? Because he
Yes,
remixed your son's song.
yeah, in 2019 I was able to meet him.
Yes. So talk to me about that. What was that like? And what did Kevin Gates tell you? Why did he decide to just remix your son's song and keep his sound alive?
He said because he helped him out a lot, and he's not ashamed to tell anybody that, you know, he really like inspired him, being that he's younger, but he still doesn't have a problem with giving him his props. And he said he promised that if and when he got out of prison, that he was gonna do a tribute to him to in honor of, you know, what he's done for him mentally and things like that while he was in prison. That's all he listened to, he said, and he said it helped him out a whole lot. And he really appreciated that. You know, he was very nice. And I asked him, could I give him a hug? You know, because he doesn't like people touching him. So I just wanted to make sure, you know. So he just laughed and he said, "Sure, you could." And then that was it. But it was really nice.
And how does that make you feel when you hear celebrities say that they were touched and influenced by your son's music and his sound? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good because he worked really hard. He didn't work hard to be noticed like that. He just really was really happy about what he did when he did music. And so I think if he saw the response that he was getting, he would be proud too that his hard work paid off, because he really worked hard.
So talk to me a little bit about what was going on when he left your house. What was your relationship like? Because you guys fell out at that time. So what was going on?
So we didn't speak for maybe about 3 or 4 months, and he would ride by the house basically every day. And then I would see him because I would go to check the mailbox, and while I was checking the mailbox, he would just ride by really fast, you know, just being mean. But he would just ride by because he was going to his friend's house around the corner, I'm assuming. And then I just would act like I didn't see him, even though I did. And then I would just go inside the house, and then I just let it be, because I know that I didn't do anything wrong, and I wasn't gonna tolerate disrespect. That I don't tolerate that at all, because I didn't deserve it. And all I did was ask you to be responsible, and it just helping him to pay. But you giving me $100 compared to you going someplace else, you're gonna have to give way more than that. So I just let it be. But I mean, if it was today, I would do it again, because you can't talk to me.
Do you think that it was something going on in his personal life? I know later you found out a lot of different things that were going on personally. Do you think that he was just acting out because there was other things going on in his life?
Now that I look at it, I'm sure that it was. And then too, to get so much so fast and so young, you know, may have been a lot. But like I said, I didn't realize how big it was until later on after he passed away. So I didn't understand what it was that, you know, he was going through. And I never raised a teenager before, you know, or of that age, to see like some of the things that he was going through and try to like identify maybe if he was troubled about something. But I know he did have a girlfriend, on and off girlfriend, that, you know, it was very toxic. And you know, that played a lot into his, you know, mental status also. I don't think that he was too far off, but I think that, you know, it just was a lot for him to deal with, you know, being heartbroken and just manipulate. She was very manipulative and playing games and stuff like that. But he really did love her, and she's now deceased as well.
So talk to me about that situation. He speaks about love and heartbreak a lot in his music. So this is something that was actually happening at the time. So talk to me about that relationship, because once he left your house, that was like someone that he was confiding in and someone that he was with at the time.
They weren't together at the time. They just would be back and forth, you know. And, excuse me. And so the last time I saw him, he had fallen out with her again, and he called me. And he said, because I told him when he left, I said, you may have more than me, but you don't have more wisdom than I do. And you're always going to need your mother, you know, so you need to, you know, be careful of what you do and what you say, because like I said, you may have more money, but you don't have the experience that I have. And I'm only trying to teach you and tell you the right thing. And so he called me one day, a couple months after, you know, he left, and he called me crying, and he was very upset. And he said, Mom, I need your help. Like I said, I told you, you're gonna need me before I need you. And I mean, I'm your mom and you don't disrespect me. I'm here to help you. What is it? What's wrong? And so he told me that he needed me to come and help him because he just saw her. He was riding on the highway because when he made music, he would like to drive really far and just listen to his beats in the car and whatever he made, or maybe if he did rapping or whatever onto his beats, he wanted to hear it. And so he was riding on the highway, he looked at his gas tank and realized that he didn't have any gas, and he pulled off to a random gas station, and the girlfriend was in the car at the pump with another guy, the guy that she was going back between both of them.
Wow.
So yeah, and it just was so like how ironic that he would pull off to this gas station and the two of them were there. And he said they were just together that morning. And to see her there, that just like what broke his heart, because she said she was finished with the guy, but yet you're in the car with him, and she had on his jacket.
Wow.
So he just got upset. He took her phone out of the car because they got scared, because I guess he was like irate in the parking lot or whatever. And so they ran inside the store, and he reached inside of the car and took her cell phone. So once he took the cell phone, he hid it. And so her parents called the police and reported the phone stolen. And so she didn't tell the part about her having his jacket and not returning the jacket. So it's like they was tit for tat, and it was very immature, but I guess he did it, out of her. So anyway, I had to meet the parents and I had to go pick him up because he had to move away from his car because she had called the police. I said, son, you gotta return this girl's phone because it doesn't belong to you. So I took him back where he put the phone, and then I took him back to his car, and then I took the phone to the parents, and the parents gave me everything that he gave her. And then that was it. But I told him, you need to make up your mind and stay away from this girl because this is no good. Two of you are fighting and going back and forth, and she keeps going back with this guy. Like, you have to be serious because somebody's gonna get hurt.
So she was playing both of them. She had a guy on the side and your son, and she was just.
Mm-hmm. And then after my son passed, she went back with him, and then she got pregnant by him probably sometime in April or something like that. She got pregnant and had a baby for him.
Wow. Okay, so after the big fallout, did your son leave her alone, or was there still some back and forth there?
Well, he passed away a few weeks later.
At 19, that was probably something that was very, very like explosive to him.
I mean, they went back, and I don't think that was the first heartbreak for him from her. It just happened like every couple of months. She would go back with this same guy, going back and forth. And I felt bad because I talked him into kind of like giving her a chance to go out with him. She really looked like she was a really nice girl. She really was a nice girl. But that part of it, I didn't like that part of it, that you would like cheat and be dishonest and stuff instead of just, she's like, she was the guy in the relationship,
So she was playing games, basically.
And that's what he made that song about, playing games and annoying and, all those songs that he did when he did Her Name Was Tisha, and he called Enrico's Story, so he sung a lot about her in his music.
Yeah, so let's talk about lyrics, actually. I'm going to read you some lyrics and talk to me about what you thought and what you felt when you heard these lyrics, because this is one of his biggest songs. This is a lyric out of Lonely. He says, got kicked out the house, I had no options. I was going through it with my mama. So that actually was something that was really happening. And you talked about it earlier. You kicked him out of the house. What did you think when you heard him singing about it on one of the most legendary songs that he has in his catalog?
And you forgot about the other part that because his head was hard. Well, I didn't even know. My cousin told me. She said she started laughing. She called me on the phone and was laughing. She thought it was funny. I said, what's so funny? She said, Derek is singing about you in his song. I said, you serious? And she played it for me and I listened to it. I said, oh no. But I mean, I didn't feel bad about it, but I just, I thought it was funny because he would make music about it, and he would make music about talking about church and stuff like that too, because he knows that, I go to church a lot and I believe in God and all. But he, I don't know, I didn't feel bad, but I was shocked that he would sing about me, but he sung about me a lot in a lot of his songs. And have you ever heard the other one where he said, I think it's Count Up, and he says that my mom, every day my mother asked me, what am I gonna do with myself? I told her, when I get rich, I'm gonna buy a house up on a hill. That song there. So I kind of granted his wish with that, because I was able to build a house on a hill in 2017.
Aww.
So that was in his honor.
That is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And all during this time, his dad is still in his life. He actually ended up getting out. So talk to me about that relationship.
Yes, he got out, and they, picked up as if they never, left off and separated. And so he would help him out, with his music, and as far as like using the keyboards and, different sounds or whatever it is that he needed. And his father is super smart with the business aspect. So he helped him to get like his stuff legalized, as far as like, with royalties and with sound exchange and all those type of things, and to have things with the lawyer and copywritten and stuff. He did all of that stuff, so he knows that business. So he was able to get him legitimized, and then also to help him to start earning money off of what he was putting out, because he wasn't really doing what he should have, because he didn't know.
So the good thing about all of this is that to this day, you guys still own all the rights to the music, the YouTube, everything is secure and everything is good, right?
Yes.
And I love to hear that. We're going to talk about that. Let's go back to what was going on right before you lost your son, because there was a certain time where I guess you lost contact with him and you ended up going to Facebook asking for help. So talk to me about what was going on at that time.
So I spoke to him, and the day he went missing was actually on his father's birthday. So Derek was very sweet as far as like making sure. So, well, the mouth that he had, it comes from me. He learned that from me. Unfortunately, some things you don't know with the things that you say and do in front of your child. It's like they're a sponge. So his mouth, he got that from me, and it just kind of backfired. But that was the old me. But so his father, he took his father. I was talking to him earlier that day on his father's birthday, and we were talking about some business that he was trying to get on his own instead of having it like in his parents' name. So I was talking to him and telling him what he needed to do or whatever. And so he was like, well, I'll talk to you later, Mom, because I'm going to take Dad and, my brother to dinner, because we were separated. So he said he was going to take his father and brother to dinner for his father's birthday. So I said, okay. And then after that, I didn't speak to him anymore, but he took his dad to dinner and brother to dinner, and he dropped them off, and he told his father, I'll be back. And I think it was like 11 something or something. And he never came back. And so he called me I think his dad called me that morning, and he asked me, did I hear from Derek? So I said, no. He said, because he left something here or something like that. It's so long ago. But he said he left something here, and he said he was coming back, but he never came back. And so I got worried, because I know that he's not going to say he's going to come back and don't, and what he left behind, I think, was very important. So then he had a meeting that morning, and he didn't show up for that either. And so I said, something isn't right, because he had studio time and a meeting, and then he left whatever it was at his dad's house. Something is not right. And so then after that, I called the police. And once I called the police, they said, there's nothing we can do because it's not 24 hours yet. I said, but I know that is something odd, because my son, the things that is happening is something that is not like Derek, because he's very responsible when it comes to his business. And so I went to sleep, and I told his father, we'll just wait for the 24 hours. And so I got up, like I was sleeping, and then something just woke me up, like about maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I got up and I sat up in my bed, and I said, something is not right. So I called the police again. I said, please, you got to help us. I said, something is not right. And so they said, ma'am, we cannot, you have to wait, at least wait till at least 8 o'clock or something like that, when, that division gets in, and we'll have somebody to call you. So I got up out of my bed and I just went driving to different areas where I thought he might be. I went to the studio where he played, would make his music, and went around there to the ditches behind the buildings, everywhere to see if I saw him. And I just came back and it was nothing. So I came home, went back to sleep. And then when I woke up again, I just put the message out there and asked us, please help to find my son, because he's missing and I don't know where he is. And that's when the police got involved, and they came and got the report and they did their search. It didn't take them very long.
When they did their search, according to reports, they ended up finding him in the garage. When they called you and let you know what was going on, what was going through your head?
Well, when they called me, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it, but it just was really rough. But to be honest, like, I really don't like to talk about that portion of, Derek's life, not just yet, about his death. I really don't, anything else I don't mind, but just that, like, it's a little rough because it's just hard. And then I just don't, know that his dad or his brother wants me to talk about that this time.
Yeah, I think, it's very rough and it's a very sensitive topic.
But I will tell you that, I've learned a lot, listening to and reading some of the things that people say. And it's like whatever they put out on the media, that people believe it. And then when I see some of the things that they say, it's not true at all. Like 95% of the things that they say is not true. My son did not die of any type of drug substance or anything like that. And he did not have a heart attack. But I just, want to clear that up, but that's not what happened to him. And when I see things like that, so that's why when I see things in the media now, I don't even believe it until I know for sure that it's a reliable source, because people just put things out there and then just because it sounds good or it's negative, they believe it.
Yes, because according to several different outlets, credible outlets, and Wikipedia, there's several different reports about what he passed from. There was some people saying lean. There's some people saying natural causes, heart attack. So you're here to clear the record and say it wasn't drugs, he didn't have a heart attack, and it wasn't natural causes.
I just know that none of the stuff that they're saying out there is the truth.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for clearing that up. I think the fans will appreciate that, because that is something that does come up all the time. They like to, say that maybe there was drugs involved or stuff like that. So he wasn't using drugs. It was nothing like that.
I mean, I wasn't with Derek every day to say that that's not what he was doing, but when the toxicology came back, those things were not there.
Okay. I know he was in tune with a lot of different celebrities and a lot of people in the industry. Did anybody reach out to you? Has anybody tried to, donate or just reach out to you and show their respects? Because he was friends with Gucci and Meek. And has anybody reached out?
No, no one, not one person. No one has said no apologies, no, I'm sorry, no condolences or anything like that. They just put stuff on, Twitter, maybe, I guess, for connection or something. I really don't know, but no one said anything to us and no one has given us a penny.
How does that make you feel?
I mean, I don't know. I think about it sometimes, but I just know that that's how people are. Like, you could tell when people are genuine by their actions, not by what they say. Mm-hmm. I'd like to one day do a documentary, on it. And I'm sure by that time, I guess, they'll be okay with disclosing what it is that really happened with him.
Is it something, well, I mean, I know you don't want to speak on it. But it's obviously something that's very sensitive. Do you feel that one day you will want to reveal what exactly happened?
Yes, I'll do it. I think I'll do it if in a documentary. I think I will. I think that his fans, deserve to know that. I don't mind it, but it's not at this time. And like I said, I have to respect his dad and his brother. And I didn't speak to them about releasing, what it is that really happened before I, tell that in an interview. I don't want to do that to them.
Is there anything that you do want the fans to know about his legacy and anything that you haven't revealed yet?
No, I know that he loved them. You could see that on his Twitter accounts, because he always would correspond with them. He didn't overlook anybody. Like most celebrities that you see, you have fans that they reach out to them. The only time they'll respond is if it's something negative. But if you have like people that really love you and appreciate you, because it's because of them that you're existing. And so to give them a little feedback, to make them, acknowledge them that they're paying you some type of attention, or to tell them thank you, that goes a long way. And so I really like that about Derek, that he always will correspond with his people. I mean, he didn't do it all day, but he did reach back and he would retweet or something like that, because he really did appreciate it. He got a kick out of interacting with them.
So speaking of internet rumors, there's just some really ridiculous stuff out there, and I'm sure you've seen some of it, but I want to ask you about a couple of these viral things that have popped up in regards to your son. Are you familiar with Polo G, the rapper?
No.
No? Okay. There's just conspiracy theories out there that like Polo G and your son are actually like morphed into the same. It's ridiculous YouTube stuff, but I mean, this is just things that I just wanted to dispel because I have you here. And then there's also people saying that Nav has his sound, that Nav was somebody that came through and took hold of your son's sound. It's just a lot of ridiculous stuff out there. How do you feel when you see the impact of your son on the internet to this day? Because coming up, I believe March 6th is going to be the anniversary of his passing. So now in 2023, and you still see that he's alive and well in these different artists and on these different forums. How do you feel about that?
It makes me feel good that they picked, like, out of all these people in the world, you chose my son to make stories up, and make a big deal out of, or you want to copy his sound or anything like that. That's flattering to me.
Your other son is also in the industry as well. Talk to me about his music and everything that he has going on.
Yes, he just released a new mix tape, and his name is Tally Beats. And he released a couple of songs on the soundtrack, and he's doing really well with it. He makes a lot of his music, and then he raps also.
And if your son was alive today, what do you think would be kind of happening? Do you think that he would still be in the industry working, rapping? What do you think would have happened?
I think that he would be very popular as he was when he was alive. And I think that he'd be really up there in the music industry. And I think that he'd be really, really, really doing well.
Do you think that he gets his flowers, his just due? Do you think he gets the respect that he deserves in the industry?
Not really. Not really.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know why people are like that. I really don't know, but I think that they should, because that's not a sound that just came out of nowhere. It was created by someone. And I think that he deserves that, but even if he's not here to see it, but it's still his legacy.
Talk to me about some of the things that you're doing to make sure that his legacy stays alive. Do you guys have any special days that you celebrate? Are there any events that you have planned?
Well, I mean, I try to have an event before, but to be honest, like when you have those things, people really don't come out, and support them. They're just like on the internet because they want to be seen and stuff, I believe sometimes. But when you actually have a place that you want to have a party or an event, because we had that for his repast, after his repast, we had something for the fans, and it was more so family than fans. You had a few, maybe about 40 people, but we had a big place that we rented out, and had drinks and all kind of stuff for the fans to come out to, but they didn't come. So no, I don't think that I have anything planned, but I do appreciate them for, still listening to his music and all, but to say that I would set aside a date to have something for everybody to come to, I don't know about that, because I honestly don't believe people will come.
But you are interested in telling his life story through documentary. Do you think that that's something that you will be working on anytime soon?
Yes, I would love to do that. I just really don't know where to begin, but I would love to do that. I hope one day he can be on Lifetime or he can be on Netflix or something like that, but I would love to do that.
Well, yes, I know a lot of people are going to be watching this now. So if anybody wants to reach out and help with that, you guys, she's definitely open. What do you want people to know right now about your son's legacy? Is there anything that you do want to dispel that wasn't true, or anything that you just want to speak on right now?
I would love for people to see how he started, as a little boy at like maybe, I'd say at his 5th birthday party, he was dancing and he was singing and he had the microphone in his hand. That's on social media going around, and he had on an orange and blue sweatshirt, and his father was holding the microphone. I mean the what's it called, karaoke machine, and he had the microphone and he was rapping. And I would like them to see how he started from then all the way to when he passed away. Derek started telling stories as a very little boy. That was our intimate time. Myself, when his dad was away, we had moved down south, and I would always tell my children bedtime stories before they got in bed, after they took their bath. And so that when we would have really bad weather, they would climb in my bed, and then we would tell the bedtime stories. Each person would have their turn, and Derek always had like a free-flowing story, and it just always made sense from the beginning to the end. And that's how he started his storytelling, and that's where he obtained his skills, from a very little boy telling those stories in bed.
Did you always know that he was gonna take the path that he took?
I did not. I didn't.
Did you ever try to stop him? Like, no, I don't think rapping is for you.
No, but he would always, like, when he did leave, okay, so he would come to the house and stop by sometimes, and after like we started talking back again, and he would come and get something to eat, and he would always say, "Mom, can you give me another plate for my friend?" But I never knew who this friend was, but I would always pack him another plate. And so this last time he came, he was in my kitchen, and I was making the plates. And I said, "Son, you need to make sure that you have a plan B and C just in case your A doesn't work out." And he says, "Mom," and he chuckled. He said, "Mom, I'm not going to need that because my plan A is going to work. You just watch." Like that. And I said, "Okay, son." I said, "But it's good to have a backup plan." He said, "Mom, I'm telling you, I don't need one."
Wow.
And I just left it at that.
And he was right.
Yes. He said, "It's going to be, watch, Mom. You watch. It's going to take off. You watch." He just kept saying, and he smiled like, "You have no clue." Mm-hmm.
And how many years after that conversation did it take off?
It wasn't even a few years. It was months.
Wow.
A few months. Mm-hmm. And then it really took off after he passed away.
Going back to part of the story, one of the girls that your son was in love with at the time, that he was writing a lot of his music about, you said that she passed. What exactly happened when she passed? And after he passed, did she ever come to you and say sorry for all the drama that she caused right before his death?
No, she came to the funeral, and after the funeral, she would come by the house for a little while, and she would just sit. We would just sit and talk, And then after that, she didn't come anymore. But every now and then, like maybe once a year or twice a year, she would send me a message just to say hello, just checking on you or anything. But she was always nice to me. I didn't have any problems or anything, but nobody else in the family wanted to be bothered, with her, because they felt like it was her fault that he passed away because of his mental, and that he wasn't focused. So, but anyway, I still, gave her the benefit of the doubt because she was a very nice girl considering all the heck that she caused in my son's life. But she was very respectful and she was nice to me. But I try not to get in the middle of, their things. But Yeah, she passed away. I think it was a year ago, a little over a year or something like that. But she was with I guess a guy, and I guess they got in an argument or something in the middle of the night. She was coming from a nightclub, and she, I guess, told him to pull over or something like that. And she got out of the car on the highway and was so upset she didn't pay attention, and the tractor trailer just swiped her and killed her instantly. Is what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah. And she had 2 little kids.
But she ended up getting pregnant by the guy she was cheating on your son with right after he died. You said
Right.
that earlier.
Yes.
Wow. It's interesting because, like I said, a lot of this was in his music. So now fans kind of have a backstory on it. And all of this was happening at 19 for him.
This was between 17 to 19, yeah.
17 to 19. Wow. That's so young. So
Yeah.
young. Because in 2023, he would be how old?
He will be 29.
Almost
20,
30.
29, yeah, 30 next year.
Wow.
He was a great big brother. I always used to tell him that I wish I had a brother like you. You know, you're the best big brother ever. Like, he was so sweet to Christian. And I'm so glad that he was able to feel appreciated, you know, once he passed away, because, you know, Christian's spoiled, and he just used to being the youngest and everybody just doing for him. And he just kind of, I guess, felt entitled or thought that this was how it goes. And he didn't really appreciate him. But then he realized, you know, as he got closer to, you know, passing away, that he was really blessed to have a brother like he did. Because when he would, like, Derek would go pick him up after school, and sometimes when they would have a release for a game, he would buy the game and then pick him up and then take him back to the house and play with him for a little while and then go back to his house. But sometimes if he would go shopping, he would go pick him out an outfit and lay it out from head to toe on his bed. So when he came home off the school bus, he'll see that he had an outfit just like his brother or whatever. But it was just little things like that. Like, he was very thoughtful when it came to things like that.
Well, Misha, your story is amazing. Where can everybody reach out to you? If anybody wants to reach out to you, where can they do that at?
I have my social media. Instagram is it's Mama Knockerz, MAMA KNOCKERZ on Instagram, and then Misha Wilson on Facebook is MESHA Wilson on Instagram. And we also have a dessert shop in Columbia, South Carolina. And that phone number is 803-542-7879. I can be reached there as well. And come by and take some of our delicious treats we make from scratch.
Yes, because all this time you've actually been an amazing baker and you have a shop. What are some of the signature items that you have at your location?
I make my own ice cream, and we don't have it every day, but we have it sometimes when I post it. But it's called Signature, and it's a red velvet and Oreo ice cream with pralines, which is a candy pecan, and then we have a signature red velvet cake slices, and we make a variety of New York style cheesecakes, and we usually do different variations with it. But everything we make is from scratch and freshly made every single day. Hi, my name is Misha Wilson, and I just finished my interview with Drea O, and she's everywhere you go.
True.
Thank you.